Yes, now is my voice audible? Please check and tell if my voice is audible or not. I think the voice will be audible right now. Is it audible? Yes, class? Please do type and tell. Okay, so I will be monitoring your chats through this, right? Through the laptop, and over here I have a system of this tripod and mobile connected to it, which is streaming this through live session. So either I will take it in a chalk and talk manner, or I will just do it in a screen sharing manner. So for today's session, what I will be doing is we have covered a little bit of dynamic memory allocation, I think. Now, this dynamic memory allocation, as I have dictated in the class, the dynamic memory allocation, what it does, it allocates the memory during runtime. Now, the allocation that we did previously was done during the compilation time, which was called the static memory allocation. Now, we had discussed about malloc and how it works, I think. So, I'll just brief it up. So, for today's lab session, what you will be doing is we have given a lab assignment in your this Google Classroom. So, you will go there and you will start doing that lab assignments. There are 5 lab assignments that are given over there, and what I will be doing is I will be dictating few of the things, and I will just give you an overview of the malloc that we have done, malloc keyword, which is used for dynamic memory allocation, malloc function. So let's proceed, right? Let's check how many people have joined for now. 20 people. There should be some more people be joining soon. Please inform your class to join, because if you do not inform, this is the very first session that we are having, and if you do not inform, they won't be able to understand what is happening. All the sharing and everything is happening through the Google Classroom, so you will be directed from the Google Classroom into the YouTube live. You won't be getting any messages through WhatsApp or anything. Everything will take place in the Google Classroom. All the assignments will be given in the Google Classroom itself, right? Okay, now let's start with the session, because we cannot wait for a lot of time. So now we have discussed about the malloc. Now what does malloc do? It does memory allocation, and for memory allocation we need a particular library. What is the library that is used by malloc? The library that is used is standard library, which is stdlib.h. So at the very first, what you do is you include this very library to get the malloc function, right? So now what we need to do is we need to understand how malloc works. So malloc is memory allocation, and within malloc what I specify is the size of integer. The size of integer is, in case of, if it is a compiler which has a 4-byte integer, the size of integer will be 4-byte. If it's 2-byte, then it's 2-byte. So accordingly, these all things happen. Now, when we specify the very size over here, what malloc does is the malloc function invokes a system call. That very system call, what it does is it informs the computer system's kernel. So as I've said, the computer has two parts. The operating system has two parts. This very part is called the kernel, and over here we have the shell. Whatever the request has, whatever we want to perform inside the computer has to take place through the kernel, right? And what we need to do is we need to make some system calls out in the from the shell, which is the user interface of the operating system, which requests the kernel for some service. In this case, the service is memory allocation, and this has to be done with the help of some system call. Now, this malloc function invokes a very system call, and it asks the operating system's kernel to allocate a memory of 2-byte or 4-byte. So whatever the memory is allocated, be it 4-byte or 2-byte, it comes in the form of an address. Say suppose this particular memory is allocated and the address is, say suppose, is 2000. So we have an address which is 2000. Now this address that is returned by malloc, it is coming in the form of void pointer. Now think about it. Over here what we have done is we have used a pointer p, which is an integer, that is it can store an integer address, and we are requesting memory with the help of the malloc function of how many bytes in the size of int, and the memory comes and the address is returned by malloc but in the form of void pointer. But this very address cannot be directly stored into the p variable. P is a pointer, it cannot be directly stored over here. So what we need to do is we need to typecast it. So for typecasting operation, what we use is, we over here we are converting it into integer pointer. So I write int star, right? This can be done. Now over here this very 2000 gets stored over here. Now we say p is pointing to this, right? P is a memory which is pointing to whatever malloc has allocated, and the size of this very memory is 2 byte, and this address 2000 is stored over here. Simple as that. Now if I want to use, or I want to put something inside this, what I need to do? Simple pointer, right? P is 2000, the person P is standing just outside 2000, and if I want to go inside it, I have to associate star of P. So if I do something like this, star of P is equal to 5, I can allocate 5 over here, right? Simple as that. Now after this very operation, if I do something like this, star of P is equal to star of P plus 6, what will happen? This star and this plus, this star has more precedence than the plus, right? So this will be evaluated first. What is star of P? P is 2000, the person is here. If I want to enter the box, star of P, so 5. 5 plus 6 is 11, and storing 11 where? Inside star of P. P is 2000, star of P is here, so this will be replaced by, this will be replaced by 11. Simple as that. Now if I want to allocate array, what I need to do? So this part I think everyone understood, right? You can just tell yes if you understood this. Just type yes. I will just monitor it through the laptop. Then I will proceed. Okay, fine. Right. Now let's proceed. Over here, simply size of int is there. Just if I multiply a 5 with this, a 5 if it is multiplied with this, what will happen is every location is of size of int, and how many such location is required? 5 such location is required. So I allocate 5 such location of size of int. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have 5. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously the memory will be contiguous one after another. So this is allocated in this very manner, and say suppose the first address is 2000, then we have, if it is 2 byte, 2002, then we have 2004, 2006, 2008. I'm starting with malloc because this is the first intermediate class that we are having. It can be treated as a demo class for now, but from the next day we will start. I'm just doing this because all the lab assignments that is given to you has to be done with the help of this malloc keyword. So we have some assignments with array, and we have some assignments with this very 2D array and 1D array. 2D array you don't need to think about it for now, but for 1D array you have to implement this with the help of malloc. So this 5 location is allocated, and 5 such location of size of int is allocated, and P being a pointer, what it will do is, it say suppose the address of P is 4000, right? The address of P is 4000. So this allocation After this 2000, the first base address gets returned by malloc. So malloc, what it does is it allocates 5 such location of size of int, right? This job is done, and it also returns this 2000 address here, but in the form of what? In the form of void pointer. As I've said, void pointer, there's a tongue twister with this. Void pointer is a pointer that can be pointed by any other pointer. That is what it is. Void pointer is a pointer that can be pointed by any other pointer. So this 2000 gets returned over here, but it cannot be directly stored into P. It can be stored, but we cannot dereference it. Dereference means what? We cannot do it with the help of star P. In order to properly use this, we have to typecast it. So this int star is very much required to convert this 2000 address into integer address and then store it in P. So after this 2000 gets stored over here, and we have something like this, right? And this very operation over here, what we have is the same as the array implementation, but not statically but dynamically. Over here, simply replacing this 5 with an n will do the job of allocating n such memory location, right? Over here we are allocated 5. Now we need n such memory location. So let me check the chat again. Okay, fine. So no such hate comments for now. Anyway, if you feel boring, if the lecture is boring, please do tell. We have to modify accordingly, because this is the first time all the teachers are doing. They are trying their best to deliver. So any sort of changes that is required during the lecture session, please do tell. We will modify accordingly, right? Now, after this very allocation, what I need to do is I need to use the memory. So P of 0, P of 1, these all allocation can be used in this very manner. Or simply, another thing what we can do is star of P plus 0, star of P plus 1. So these all things can be done, right? So we have to do it in this very manner, either through pointer or through the simple array indexing. P is 4000. P's address is 4000, but P's content is 2000. P is standing here. P plus 1 is over here. Star of that is inside this. Again, P of 1 is this. So writing P of 1 is equal to 5 and writing P plus 1 whole star is equal to 5, both will do the same job, as I have said in the class, I think. So this is it. So this is the pretty much usage of this malloc function for allocating the memory during runtime. So I won't take much of your bandwidth for now. We have to think about an optimized way of sharing this informations and everything. I think college has discussed of getting a 3 GB bandwidth, so please go with that. College will reimburse everything. So I'll just end today's session. What you will be doing is you will be going into your Google Classroom and you will be doing the very lab assignment that is given over there. All the lab assignments, if any sort of memory allocation is there, you have to implement the memory allocation using the malloc. Even if it's a small integer, you do it with malloc. If it's an array, you do it with malloc. So this sort of action has to be done, right? So please proceed with this. Our time limit, and there is a time limit for that. Right now I think it's approaching 3, so you have a time till 4, and there will be an IMCRP quiz also. So do the assignment and give the IMCRP quiz. This is the assignment for today's lab, and thank you. So I will be closing today's session and we will be seeing on the next class, right? Thank you.